Hello. So this is a little practice piece. Um, I oftentimes, a lot, in fact, do studies of other artists. Mostly master studies. Um, Painters long dead, that I admire and feel I can learn a lot from. But this is a contemporary painter. He's American. His name is Ted Retz or Ted Reach or something. But anyway, as I say, I often do these. I find them a wonderful source of learning. And this little one is uh, is from one of his. Is from one of his. Obviously, I don't sell these or anything, and I tend to give them away as gifts or just paint over them. I paint over them an awful lot. I have more. I have more work that I've painted over and over. I've often painted over the same canvas 15 times, maybe 20, up until the point where it can't support much more paint. But this is it. It's great for learning. It's great for learning. Um, to do these studies of other painters who you can tell are just way further down the road from you. And way up the road ahead of you. And to my mind, like this is where it's at. I know. I've often heard it said, if you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong fucking room, and that is so true. And so this is how I learn in the main, you know, and continue to learn is from painters who are miles ahead of myself, you know, leagues. And this is just a contemporary painter, an American painter, but he's a very good, excellent painter. And then when we're talking about others, like, I'll show you one in a second now of same thing as this, just kind of a blocking of an American painter as well, William Ritchell. He's long since dead. A fantastic painter of the sea. And I've done a good few of his as well, studies. And as I said, either paint over them or I tend to give them away as gifts, making it clear that they're copies of past artists, current or past artists. And more often than not, well, certainly with the painters that are still alive, like I most usually just send them a little email or something, just uh, uh, and first of all tell them I want to admire their work, and also would you mind if I did one or two wee studies of your work, like to help me learn, and they always respond. It's painters love that you would learn from their work, and there's so much to learn anyway. So yeah, I love the muted colors here, because it's hard to mix grays, lads, for me anyway. Grays being like a desaturated version of any color. And if you're not going to use black all the time, you're forced, which kills color. I do use black sometimes, but if you're not going to use black, um, you have to put the hard work in to learn how to color relationships and how to desaturate them. You know, with their usually with their complements. And anyway, not to go into color theory or nothing. But I love the muted colors. And yeah, it's just that there's a nice simple, and I love this composition and the way he has arranged the shapes. And it's just yeah. If I showed you the original, you'd know what I mean. I don't have it. I'm not going to put on the computer or anything, but it's just a remarkable, lovely painting, and I've done some plenty of studies of his actually, and I'll be doing more because I'm learning from them. Anyway, so that's that. I wanted to show you that, and just tune in more generally because I have this YouTube channel now, and my main YouTube channel was the Icarus Landing. And I didn't want to use that for I didn't want to use it for the painting as well, and so I thought to myself, if I want to put up some work and do a few videos here and there of the painting and that side of things, then I'd be better off doing another channel, and so I just created another YouTube channel called Painting with Jason. Painting with Jason, and the idea is just simply to put up, short videos of either during a painting or talking a bit about the process of how the process unfolds for me in learning painting and all of that, and but more so as well when I'm out and about, which is always the aim of all the learning, to facilitate my capacity to go out into nature and paint, which is just it's not easy, or at least I certainly don't find it easy. And so that's the deal with this new YouTube channel. That's it. And so there we go. So there we go. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to give you a wee look as well at this one that I mentioned of William Rituals. That is also, because this is the sort of work that I'm working on this week now. And I have a big one as well that I started, that I blocked in. I was up at home in Donegal there, and I did a plein air outdoor painting on the beach in Mahari in County Donegal. And I decided to block in over the weekend. I hadn't that planned, Over the weekend, I decided to block in a much larger painting based on that, but I changed the angle a bit, of the scene, and it's a bigger painting. So I'll give you a look at that as well. And but I'm only going to work it at the weekend. But before I do, I'll give you a look at this study as well. Like this is just a block in from that chap, the American painter William Ritual that I mentioned. Fantastic. Look him up. He's an amazing painter, and I thoroughly recommend any painter or any person like myself who has come to painting, around the middle of their lives, and certainly come to give themselves more and more to the discipline, I suppose, of painting and learning how to paint, in the middle of their lives. If anybody like that at all, and that wouldn't necessarily have a background in the arts, and certainly not an academic background in the arts, I'd recommend anybody in that sort of, in a similar sort of group, let's say, as myself, or anybody indeed to do copies, not copies so to speak, but studies. You're never copying anything. To do studies of painters they admire and painters that you feel are way down the road ahead of you. It's a wonderful exercise to get into, and yeah, I'd thoroughly recommend it. Anyway, so let's have a look at Rituals, William Rituals. So this is another little block on. I blocked this in a bit before I went up to Donegal, and this is what I mean. Like, this is just a blocking, that have to be refined and everything, and even that'd be enough for the learning. But this is what I'm sure you can see what I mean straight away. You learn from these masters. I mean, I would see William Ritual as an absolute master of the landscape, and a master of describing light in the landscape, and particularly seascapes. And I mean, this being just a block, and straight away from practicing from his work and from this piece, you're able to learn so much about how light behaves out there in the landscape, and there's no end to the learning in it, and now these are not the colours of Ireland, obviously, but it doesn't matter really what you study as long as you study it, and there's great learning, and obviously not the colours of Ireland, but you could use that colour scheme, which would be, if you want to call it scheme, you could use that colour scheme, which is a kind of a green blue, a blue that's heading towards the yellow, so a green blue, and two earth colours like an orange. So basically that's all you have there is a green blue and a variety of oranges that are very close together. That's all you have there in that painting in white, more or less, and it's just amazing how many colours and subtle flavours of colours, and colour notes you can achieve and pull out of that simple little palette, And I like to keep things simple, I like to use as little brushes as possible in a painting, and I like to use as little colours as possible, because it simplifies the process, and it forces me to learn. And besides, I'm not good when I have too many choices. I'm so, I don't know, No, not good. The less choices I have, the better. So maybe it wouldn't work for a lot of people. Maybe it would work for some, but the less choices, and certainly the less choices when it comes to painting, the better I am. 2 or 3 or 4 brushes, I have a whole pile of brushes and a whole pile of paints and a whole pile of shite, really, And I can tell you always, no matter how big the painting or small, I would rarely use more than 3 or 4 brushes and the same brushes for the whole thing. And usually only use 2 or 3 tubes of paint, mainly the 3 primaries. I buy paint and I never use it. I buy a whole pile of shit in, as I say, I never use it. But this is how I work, and I like it that way. Anyway, going on a bit now. So there we go. Lovely wee study, and a lot I learned from that now as well. Now I want to work into him a bit more tomorrow, but there's plenty learned from that. I could either give that away, as I say with these types of things when I'm doing work that is designed to teach me and learn from other painters. I tend to give them away, or I just paint over them again. So that's that. Now I just want to give you a brief look at this larger one that I mentioned from Donegal up in Mahari Strand. When I was up there, I painted. I did a plein air and outdoor painting, and I was out there for a couple of hours one afternoon, and from that, then I took several photographs and took them away with me, and I said to myself, I have a big canvas laying around there in the house, and I said I'd take it out at the weekend and I would block it in, and then work on it at the weekends, and so that's what I did. So here we go. It's the magic of liquid. It's a fast drying medium. So there we go, and it's not dry, but it's dry enough, to not. So there we go, lads. I'm very happy with the blocking there, and blocking just meaning that you're covering the whole canvas with the bare essentials of what you need. All the different shapes are filled in. You've generally speaking, the values. I don't want to go too much into technical language. It's not neat and it's not technical language, but you have basically the whole of the painting is covered, and you have enough in there on which to stand back and let the painting speak to you then, and whatever reference you have or ideas at this stage now that you have used to get going, they're all gone, You're just working with you and the painting from here on and now. There's nothing else, you're not looking at a photograph. Not that photographs are not great things for working, I find, from paintings. I can use them as ideas, and do sketches and that, and from those sketches, work out a painting, but in and of themselves, I find photographs to be not a good thing to be painting from, and now that's just me. I have nothing against it in principle, and I know a lot of people that do just beautiful, beautiful paintings, completely and always from photographs, but it doesn't seem to work. I tried it in the in the first few couple of years when I was trying to learn, and I knew straight away it wasn't going to work out for me, but I kept going because I'm stubborn, and it takes its time. It does me anyway to get out of your own way and give yourself over to the way that fucking, whatever the creative juice wants to come forth in yourself, like, for want of a better way. And that's a process, And for me, too much dependence on photographs doesn't work, although I've seen it work well for others. Anyway, so there we go. So yeah, so this fellow, not much to say about it other than I'm happy with the block, and anybody that knows that area, see, the day I did the smaller painting, which was about that, like, I was probably standing where I'm standing now, like, in relation to this spot, but I was painting over here. I painted what I was painting was the tower, and back over as far as here. So the tower's on back here. If you go over as far as here, you hit the tower, And after taking a few photographs and bringing them home and cropping them in different bits and pieces, and I thought to myself, I really like this angle here. because it wouldn't ordinarily be, I love looking at the landscape, and particularly landscapes that I know, and very much in particularly landscapes and the area in which it was brought up, and which is this area here. Um, I love looking at new ways, and angles that wouldn't necessarily be familiar, And when I look at here, like straight away, like I'd have to look and where's that? And then, oh, right, that's the wee tower up there, or the wee watchtower that is in Crowley Head in County Donegal, But normally, what would be famous is the Martello Tower way over here. And I thought to myself, no, let's do a painting of this. And I love the angles. And so the light is the light. This is around about this photo. I would have taken the snap before I started painting that day. So this is about 1 o'clock. So the lights just at the south, and it's coming down, and it's kind of overcast that day and quite cold and breezy. So a lot of the painting is going to be in shadow, and I like that, I like that. For me, it gives me a good balance of light and shadow. Much of the painting there is all in shadow. And anyway, so there we go. So I was happy with that block, and I'm looking forward to getting back to that next weekend. There we go. And I'll tip away at that. Yeah, that's not bad, that. I thought that wouldn't be touch dry, but it is touch dry anyway. Okay. So yeah, I'll be getting back to that at the weekend. So that's the deal. So painting with Jason, and all it is this, and just some videos put up, and as the process unfolds, and more so as I'm out and about painting when I do get out, and out plein air, as they say, or outdoor painting, as I like to say, and because that's where it's all at, That's where it's all at, Yeah. So there we go. Painting with Jason. Lovely. Thanks for listening. See you soon.